It's CalifaRap.net, and today we are here with a Chicano rap heavyweight, Wicked, from the legendary group Brownside. Wicked, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Cuba Raza. Big shout out to all my gente out there, all the supporters. 2018 coming at you.
Let's start with the first question right away. When and how did you start rapping?
Okay, so rapping. It's something I believe I decided when I was at a very young age. I think I was like 10 years old. First time I heard um, Eric B. and Rakim. They had a tape out. And on B side, I believe there was an instrumental about 4 or 5 minutes long. And I started messing with it back then at 10 years old.
All right, that's how you started, but when and how did you get in contact with Toker, and how did you actually form the group Brownside?
Okay, so because I decided to do that, it had always been a passion of mine to figure it out. Never really had any support along the way. I did run into a group called 2HK back then. They were performing out in San Diego. They asked me to go up on stage after their performance for an open mic. They enjoyed that. They connected me with whom I call Professor out in Redondo Beach, which coincidentally was recording with Eazy-E. So at that point, we were already crossing paths, Eazy-E and I. He helped me out with a demo, 2 songs. One of the first songs that I attempted to record was a Bald and Brown song. It wasn't the original one that I put on the album, though. But through that demo, that was able to get into Toker's hands through his family, through his sisters. I ran into them on the street. They played the gang-related first single that Brownside had. They played it for me while we were out there chilling on the street, drinking and smoking and stuff. And they asked me how I liked it, and I said it was good stuff. It was different. The homeboys are. They were like, yeah, that's good, but my homeboy we could got something better, and they were interested. I played it for them eventually, and they took it to him. He gave me a phone call, then I met up with him. Once we met up, the rest is all history. We chopped it up. We hit it off well. He played me some of the stuff that they were recorded, that they had already recorded, and they asked me, what I thought and if I wanted to be part of the team. They explained to me their vision, and I was with it, from day one. And the rest is history. We've been cracking for almost 20 years.
So now let's start talking, about all the classic albums you have released. I would say I give you the name of the album, and you tell us what you think about it, and maybe, some background information about the recording process. I will actually start with the Brownside albums you've been involved with. The first one, let's start with Payback.
Okay, well, with Payback, that album was actually recorded while Toker was incarcerated. He was doing some time. We were making a lot of phone calls. I was traveling back and forth when he was a lot closer to go visit him, to keep the Brownside name alive. That was important for me personally. It wasn't something that I was just gonna, let die down. It's not part of my nature. But we were recording that out here in Diamond Bar, and we've made a couple of songs through a recording device. I'm assuming similar to what you have now for this interview. And we put Toker on a couple of the tracks. Let's see. That album didn't take much time to finish recording. We did do the song. What did we do on that song? On that album, 13 Reasons. Did we do 13 Reasons on that album? That album. It was important for us because we needed to make sure that we were going to stick around, though. So, the Payback, that was a good one, man.
Okay, what about the first one, East Side Drama?
East Side Drama was a collective. It was a bunch of people coming together to put that album together. That's why it was special. Um, it originated under Ruthless Records. Triple X Records had a lot of the distribution portion of it. Um, so it was a collective. It was Tony G and Julio G from KDAY. We had Andre the Giant. I call him. He's a big ass guy. He helped us do some of the songs on there. So Rough, he did with me, and we did Look Through My Eyes together as well as People versus Toker. That song People versus Toker was actually recorded um, during the time that we were putting the album together, the East Side Drama. Right towards the end of it is when Toker got, sentenced, and you know, it was a time where my mind had to process it all and start strategizing what the next move was. So I needed to write that song, People versus Stoker. People needed to understand the frustration and just the thought process of what goes on in one's head once things go down like that don't make any sense as to why you're getting charged for something you didn't do, you know. But faith has its time, I guess. Homba got released and he came home and we're doing good now.
The next one is 13 Razones, 13 Reasons.
Yeah, Trece Razones. That song and that album, classics, man, classics. It was an idea that Tokes and I were talking about over the phone. And he's like, I got this idea for this song, Wix. And I said, oh, yeah, what's it called, man? He's like, 13 Reasons. And he gave me a little bit of his verses, and I said, okay, well, let me try to write something because I have a different idea. I want to go about it a different way, And a couple of days later, he called me up, and I said, look, this is how it's gonna go. And he was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, just drop that one. But like I said, the name, the Brownside name, it was just something that we needed to keep relevant, If you stop producing, if you stop putting product out there, then you just become history, and that's not how we wanted to represent. We wanted to make sure that the standard that we were setting and what we came to do, it was gonna stick around. We needed to solidify it. And it looks like we've been doing that for the last 2 years. Tokes has been doing a great job of that. And I'm excited to become part of what's happening now,
I actually skipped one of the records, The Takeover.
Yeah, so The Takeover was an album put together as soon as Toker got out. The whole strategy behind it, just like always, Tokes is the mastermind. He's got great potential. A lot of people don't see that because he talks a lot of shit, but that's just him, He likes to keep you off balance. But that's my boy, man. The takeover was, something that him and I and Trouble put together. Trouble, you interviewed him before. I heard his interview, good stuff. And it was D Black, Chris Gunn, and I think it's a classic. It's got a whole different feel to what originally Brownside was like. What the original Brownside feel was all about. We added some old stuff to it, some new stuff to it. I think one of my favorite tracks on there is La Despedida. I was able to go from English to Spanish back to English, and it's something that throughout the years is still relevant. People still, I guess they like the angry music. It's got to do something with the anger behind it. I'm not sure, but the takeover, yeah. It seems to me like every album that we put out, it just continues to show and reflect everything that we're processing and how we're digesting it. And if it is that we do sound angry or that we do sound like we're popping off, it's because that's how society has us. That's we're we're products of the street. So that's why we write our rhymes the way we do.
All right, so I mean, now let's go on with your solo albums. The first one, you already mentioned the original song, Mr. Bald and Brown.
Yeah, Bald and Brown. Um, so that happened after Choker ended up getting incarcerated. I touched base with a friend of mine for a long time now, Lightfoot, Cherokee, great descendant of a crazy horse, actually. Good people there. Um, he helped me put the album together. Um, Matter of fact, he shooted me all the masters and the original artwork to that. That's gonna be my album now. He's handing it down to me. So we're gonna remaster. We're gonna press it and put it back out again. Maybe do some songs off of that album. And a few of the performances that are coming up. But that album was a great experience. I went up to Washington for a couple of weeks to record that album. A lot of ideas were put together. Um, Live there on the studio. I got to pick a lot of my instrumentals. It was a whole different feel for recording that project. Um, it was special to me because it was the first one that I got to do, and because you know, it was going to mark the beginning of what I was to become.
All right, the second one is actually, I would say it's probably more an EP, Wicked Stranza.
Oh yeah. So Wicked Stanza, that's interesting. uh, a lot of people were trying to help me put that album together. A lot of people, good people, were trying to help me put that album together, especially with the artwork. I was doing my best to put music out. It wasn't uh, top quality, and I just, I was trying to do something where I was out of my range, and I shouldn't have been doing it. Porque Esperanza is not really an album that should have been out there.
Okay, the last one out of many.
I believe One Out of Many is an album that didn't really get looked at like it should have. I'm not sure, why things happen the way that they do. Usually, artists have those kind of albums, but if you haven't had a chance to check that one out, that's a hot commodity there. I think a lot of what I was going through, coming in and out of situations in my life, were put on that album. A lot of heart was put into that album, and a lot of my sweat, tears, and blood, I like to say, were put into it. That album means a lot to me because I was able to regroup and put a professional product back out again to reestablish what we were originally set out to do. And then the title "One Out of Many" it comes from a thought process. It's not me standing alone to represent everybody that's out there that looks like me or feels like me or walks and talks like me. It's I'm just one out of many. There's a lot of talent out here, and different types of talent, and it just all gets overlooked because the right people aren't out there to help us out. Which leads me to my next comment. That is that is something that my mission for the next couple of years is to establish myself as someone reputable enough to speak up for our our people with craft, whether it be in graffiti, in drawing, in tattoos, in music. It doesn't matter. We all need somebody that has a name, that's known for putting out quality product and people believe in. And my goal is to become that person to help all the gente out. Doesn't matter what race they are, those dealing with the struggle.
All right, what I've been wondering about is, when it comes to that one out of many release, I think it was put out with distribution by Low Profile Records. I think PR, Richard Preuss did a version. I mean, who put it out originally?
So originally, it was put out through PR Records. We had an understanding that it's something that we're actually discussing now. I can't talk too much about it. I'm limited to what I could say about it, but uh, it'll be put back into the right hands very soon. That's pretty. So I apologize. That's about as much as I can say about that right now.
All right, so I mean yours, and Brownside's affiliation with Eazy-E and Ruthless Records is well documented, and you also already mentioned it earlier. How important do you think was he, for the success the group has had so far?
Well, first of all, it was a great opportunity to become part of someone so legendary. I'm sure everybody feels that way. It wasn't something that I had set my heart on, becoming somebody through him, using him or anything like that. It was just cool to be in the studio with a G like that. But yeah, being at Ruthless meetings, at luncheons, sitting down with Jerry Heller as well. Great cat, good people there. Um, I believe, we were there because we were meant to be there, and because things didn't go the way that we thought, were supposed to happen. I can't be selfish and say, it would have been great or it would have been better. You know, I'm not gonna go there. It is what it is. Things went down, and the homie's gone. Jerry Heller's gone. So it wasn't our time to put it all out all together at once. Um, you know, when Bone was there, it was Bone Thugs, it was us, there's a couple other cats as well. And the people that got in the door got in, and the people that didn't. But we're not gonna cry over spilled milk. We're still on the grind. We do our thing. Rest in peace.
But you know what? Some people, are always wondering about, because Eazy-E, I think he really was interested in the Chicano lifestyle. And do you think, if he would be alive or would have stayed alive longer, that this might have had an impact on the success of Chicano rap in the long time?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, he had a vision. He could see what people can't. Like in the present, he could see 10, 15 years ahead. He was an entrepreneur. That's what all us. We're all trying to, set our standard and be out. Be the same way. I could honestly say that he did have a vision. I mean, look what's happening. It seems like it's not all put together, this Chicano rap industry. It seems like we need more structure, and we need to figure out a way to solidify our standard, to make sure that we stamp this with the seal of our approval, which it seems like we're still filtering through. You have a couple of cats coming out of the woodworks that are making a name for themselves, and it's finally happening. But look how many years it took for that to happen. So yeah, do I believe that things would have been different if E would have, been around and continued to show support for the raza? Yeah, absolutely. How far it could have gone, I have no idea. But E, man, he does everything big. It would have been impressive to see.
For a time, you went by the name Arsenal, and did some more Christian influence rap. I mean, let us know more about that.
So, and there's a lot of questions that get asked about that. Am I Christian, or I thought I was, or, my faith has always been the same. Just like anybody else, we all need a little bit of God. What you guys saw in Arsenal, that video you guys see, that's me out there trying to reach the community. That was actually an event for a homeless center in the city of Corona that was celebrating 100 years. They were trying to get me out there. Angel Baby was out there from 99.1. They were trying to get me out there with some money. and I kind of turned it around on them. I told them, you know what I want to do is I want to be able to feed the homeless. So how about I rap for food for them, you know? So that's what that event was all about. We had a grip of food that people started donating because of that. Um, but you know, everybody goes through their ups and downs, and no matter what I've been through, my main objective has always been the same, was to reach those who needed to be reached. You know, those that need to hear, uh, those that need to hear, you know, what people like us have been through and how we survived it. So my main mission has always been to you know, to tap into the community and make sure that, you know, we stay coming up. You know, don't keep our heads down.
All right, so you already mentioned, at least a little bit what made you come back to the Chicano rap game, but I mean, let us know more about that, because I mean, you took some time off,
Yeah. Well, I I got married, I had kids, I got a job, you know, normal life stuff. You know, things happen, uh, and then turn around, and the opportunities in music weren't always there. You know, I have always had this calling, I believe, you know, to speak up and you know, put the rhymes on some tracks and you know, have the people feel it. So what did bring me back was that for the last 2.5 years, I've been feeling the, you know, the urge to put it down again. And for me, writing music is therapeutic for me, you know. So if you're not trying to process through things that are going through your head, it kind of messes with you. It kind of stirs you up, you know. So I was a bit stirred up, a bit wound up, and I needed to make sure that you know, I did my thing, you know, for as long as my, you know, the fam that's out there that's following us is down to, you know, come out and you know, hold it down for us and show us the love, then we're going to continue to do it. But yeah, that was one of the reasons. Another reason was, you know, the way that uh, I could see people responding online, Instagram, Facebook, or on YouTube Live when Tokes was on doing this thing, and then, you know, all the gente were asking, you know, where's Wicked at? Where's Wicked at? So I felt like the game was calling my name, and I wasn't done, you know, so I had to come back and show some more love.
So the interesting question, of course, is, I mean, Toka released the Banging Stories album in 2016. You haven't really, I mean, what means really, you haven't been on it. Why did you not get your part on the record?
Oh no, not at all, actually. On that Banging Stories, it was a solo project. He added an exclusive um, with his brother Clever. Um, yeah, that's, you could call that his first solo project. Toby's first solo project is what it looked like to me. Um, so yeah, I was definitely not on it. I was in communication with Toker, but I hadn't fully committed to making the return, you know, back to the music industry. It's something that you can't do half-assed, you know. It's something that if you're going to commit to reaching those that need to be reached, then you got to do it, you know, full-fledged. It's not something you do half-hearted.
All right, so I mean, let us know a little bit more detailed, what we can expect from you when it comes to new music in the future. I mean, we have seen online, clips and also heard some audio with you and Toka recording some music together. So will it be a Brownside record or a new Wicked solo album? I mean, let us know.
Well, at the moment, we are working on the next Brownside project. Uh, it's you know, just like any other Brownside project. I expect it to be a classic. It's always a great experience to be in the studio again with my boy Tokes. We, you know, two great minds come together, and you know, we come up with all kinds of crazy shit. It's always good. So far, we have about 4 or 5 tracks done. We're gonna do at least another 4 or 5 more and put it out. I got another Um, uh, project cracking as well for a solo project that I'm going to work on. Um, I do believe that we're about to put out a video for the Real Recognized Real. That's one of the first tracks that we recorded since I got back. It is important that everybody understands that we're coming though. Because when we show up, I believe we set a standard. We bring back what's real to the game, and I see it happening. I see a lot of other rappers coming out the woodworks as well. I mean, I don't know if they've been taking the time out as well, but we don't mind holding it down to make sure that everybody knows that what we do is fresh and it's what everybody's looking for, even though nobody wants to talk about it because of all this other music that's out right now.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that. I also have the feeling, that Chicano rap is actually getting more active again. And I mean, also, when it comes to you, I mean, you've been featured on the Rich Garcia album and you've also already filmed a video with him. Maybe you can let us know more about that because I think not only the tracks you are featured on, but the whole Rich Garcia album is a really, really dope record.
Yeah. So my boy Rich G, is important artist on the East Town Records label. His craft is something that's been missing within the Chicano rap movement. It's important that we season the Chicano rap scene with new flavors and show versatility. It's important that someone like Rich G comes and shows their face. They've been around the game for a long, long time. Um, Him and his band, very well known within the R&B, industry, but this is something different. I believe it's got a gangster feel with an oldie feel to it, and it's twisted up just the right way. It's just like when you get that good drink, that good mixed drink, that you're like, okay, cool, this fool knows what he's doing. But, that's how Rich G is coming. He's coming like an OG, and we respect that. We got a little danger on a track that's about to drop a video for. It's called Hood Life, which reminds me of Blackie Fontana, rest in peace. Much love to his family as well. My respects. But this Rich G, Barrio Chronicles. You guys gotta go cop that because it's a classic album, and people should be showing him love for all the effort that he's put out there for you guys. For sure.
All right, all right. So before I let you go, I really want to thank you, for actually taking your time, to sit down with us today to do the interview. But, as usual, is there anything else that you want to say at the end of the interview?
Yeah. I want to say a big fuel to all my gente out there, everybody that's been showing love from day one. Um, you know, we still got some stuff coming. Some more products, some heat. The love is definitely appreciated, and we'll see you out there in the streets, man.